Hello, patrons. Thank you for joining me in this Easy Synth Programming Ninja Training bonus Patreon exclusive, where we're going to go into Native Instruments Massive and do some extra homework, okay? What we just covered in the public video was monophonic functionality. I don't know if it's called monophony or whatever, but, and then polyphony, monophony, polyphony, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, leave a comment. But that's basically how many notes, voices, you can play in your synth at one time, okay? So here we have Massive. Let me initialize the patch. You guys, depending on when you've joined me, we've seen this countless times, but here's, let me go in the oscillator section. Is it the oscillator or voicing? Makes sense, voicing. So here we have max 16, okay? And so what does that mean? That means here we have polyphon selected. This is our polyphonic mode, okay? So in this case, I can play 16 voices. Now that doesn't mean 16 notes really, because first of all, I don't have 16 fingers. But what it means is that depending on how our amp envelope is set up, we can have 16 voices inside the synth. So like, a note is not a voice, okay? A note is a command, and a voice is what the synth returns to you. So it's almost like you're punching the synth and one voice comes out, for instance. So let's start with that and we'll build up, okay? So voicing, let's say 1, okay? We're still in polyphonic mode, but we still have max 1 voice. We can see that up here under the voices display here in the toolbar section. So let's play 1 note. Now, what if I play another note? It plays that next note, but then it's cut off because of the way that this this setting is. It's polyphonic setting, but we only have 1 voice, and that's just how it's going to work out. It's kind of complicated, but the synth is capable of playing multiple voices, but it's only going to play 1 at a time. It's only pretty much going to respond to the note on command. It's going to respond to the note off also, but we're not able to, say, play C and then rotate that with E flat, for instance. Now, if we put max on 2, we will be able to play 2 notes simultaneously, but as soon as we hit that third one, the first one gets choked out. So let me play C3, and I'll play E flat 4 and G4. As soon as I hit that G4, that C3 goes bye-bye. And that's how this polyphonic setting works inside of Massive. Let me increase the release on the amp envelope some so we can hear what that sounds like as these sounds decay. Now, it's just going to cut that first voice. It doesn't matter how long we have the release setting. I could turn it up all the way, and that first voice is still going to get chopped off. But now let me play. Let me put it back on 1. Now let me play this C3, and then I'll play E flat 4. It's cutting it off, even though the first note is lingering because the amp envelope is dedicated to that voice. That makes sense. Let's try to visualize that. So I play a note. The synth says, well, I have 1 voice available. I'm going to use this amp envelope to shape it. And then as soon as another note comes in, I'm just going to say, done with that, move on to the next one. Okay, that's how that works. So here, it's only interested in the new thing. Now, as soon as we have multiple voices happening, let's say 2, now it can juggle 2 balls. But only 2. Now if I hit 3, see that? It was still playing that voice, so I was only able to play 2. I don't know if I have like a reset button in here. Is this my panic button? I think so. So let's try it again. As soon as I hit that third voice, that third note, you're only given 1 voice per note, so it just says 2 notes, 2 voices, that's it. Now we know how that's going to work. If I put this all the way up to, I don't know how many to go, 64, then I could just keep playing notes all day, and they're gonna just keep coming. We're gonna run out of amp envelope release before we run out of notes we play, more than likely, unless we're playing really fast, and you can hear that it does get bunched up pretty quick. Most polyphonic synths, especially analog ones where you need to have circuits that do this, are going to be maybe 4 voice, 6 voice, 8 voice, and maybe 12 if you're lucky, or whatever, 16 maybe, I don't know. So that's how that works. That's polyphony. Now monophonic, it gives you a whole nother set of options down here. Well, it gives you legato triller, and I can explain that in a second. So first, let's go to because I'm exploring this with you. So let's take a look. Let's set polyphony to three voices, and then let's check how it triggers. So now it's triggering always. Let's see what happens. We hit that 4th note, and it's gone. Now what happens if I hit legato? Same thing. Let me play the notes in an arpeggiated way, individual. Now that's pretty cool, because it's not always triggering a new voice. That's how it works. It's only going to trigger a new voice if I have a previous note depressed. So here I'm just tapping in a very percussive way, and you're going to hear that there's only one voice at a time. I might have been sloppy there, but now let's bring it back to 1 and hear if that sounds any different. Kind of weird because it does. Let's try always. Start over. I don't know, man. Not really sure how that's different, but maybe if you guys know, let me know, or I'll have to go into the manual and check that out. But there's definitely a difference here when it comes to monophonic. Okay, so let me play monophonic right here and see what happens. So it's only triggering when I play. This is just like you'd see in Centaural. Now, mono rotate, I do know what that does. And what that does is it gives you 2 voices, kind of, whereas monophonic, it's just a hard on-off. But with mono rotate, it actually gives you another voice, and it fades between them. So it should sound smoother. Let me try that. It does, and it should, because again, it's got like 2 parallel voices, and it's shifting between them. You only get one at a time, except for that split little second where it fades. Okay, that's mono rotate. That I know for sure. And then let's go, since that is the smoother version, let's go to mono rotate, and then let's try this legato setting here. Now, see, this is cool because here on trigger, if I'm holding down this B flat, it's going to trigger those other notes even though I have that B flat held down. It's not going to rotate between them. We're going to get into that in a second, but it's always going to play those even if I have a note down. Now let's try legato, see what happens. Now this will only play the next note. It'll only play like a third note, say, if I have the note that I just played still held down. If I'm holding a note down. So I'm holding down B flat now, right? I just played C and then E flat. It played C, didn't play E flat. Now let me play B flat, C, and then E flat. In that case, I let go of B flat, still holding down C. Now, I can hold down B flat and C just as long as that last note that I played is still being held. I can also play another sound and it'll sound. It'll still cut off the last note, but the next note will play. Okay, that's how that works. Now, legato triller, this is, I think, how a Moog is set up. This is how Syntorial is working in its monophonic setting. And that's where you can hold one note and just go nuts and it'll shift between the two. That's mono triller, okay? Mono rotate triller. I think we do monophonic triller just a little bit different. Monophon is, I think, a little bit more choppy than mono rotate. Okay. Because mono rotate, again, it's the two parallel voices. I'm not really sure how triller is working when it comes to polyphonic mode. It's kind of crazy. So let's bring it up to two voices. Okay, and then legato. Don't know how that works. Maybe it's disabled or something, because it does. It's disabled. I don't know. It seems the exact same to me. So that's some of the settings. If you have unisono, how does that work here? I think that has to do with unison. I don't think it's the same thing as how many voices. It's how many like additional voices come when you play a single note or whatever. So in this case, we can have we have to first set our max value, right? So let's do two notes. Unisono can never be more than max, if that makes sense, because max is max. Max is not Debbie, Harry, or so unisono. And that's when we get these settings over here. We're going to get into that in Syntorial later, but just to give you a brief example, we can turn pitch on, and then we have it centered. So what that means is the two voices are going to separate apart from one another. So there's not going to be a center voice. You can hear it. One note pitches up, one pitches down. And if we have chord, what's going to happen is we're going to have our center note, and then we're going to add one above. And then if we were to add three, we'd also add one below, and it'll alternate. So let's try that out. I don't know if you can hear it, but one note is always the same, and then another one goes up. So let's add it let's do 3, and we should add one below also. So one will stay the same, one will go above, one will go below. So we can like maybe sing one note. I think we can hear that there's one in there. It doesn't. Maybe let's separate it more. Let's try like a perfect fifth above and below. So. Still hear that center note in there, whereas with centered, although it's kind of confusingly named, I don't think we're going to get a center voice. We're going to get a voice above, below, and then another above. Let's just go back to 2, and we should hear that there is no center note actually. It's just those 2 pitches are going to stretch around a central kind of silent axis. And then by the time they're at the end, they're going to equal a perfect fifth there. So it's not going to be a perfect fifth on the note that you're playing, so it's not going to be a perfect fifth on C. It's going to be like a perfect fifth probably on, what would be 7 half steps down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On F. So it should sound something like this. Let's try it. I don't even think it's really actually in tune. It's kind of like off A. It's like a minor third down. Whatever. I guess it's going to be like 3.5 half steps each direction. So it's going to be in between. It's not going to be in tune. But that's how that works, and it's the same thing for all these like wavetable position. How many voices are added to your final sound with this unison mode. That's unison, okay? A little bit different than monophonic and polyphonic. That refers to how many voices. Unison has to do with like how many additional voices are playing every time you trigger a note. I don't know. It's kind of like something you got to work with a lot. So with that, let's get in here and add polyphony to 4 previous patches. We can start. Let's try with this lead, evolving with sub from On Your Own 10. Let's hear how that sounds. We can see that I have 2 max voices. We are polyphonic. So it already is polyphonic. Let's change it. Let's do 4 voices. Why not? So that way we can do like little mini chord things. That's a cool effect because when I hit that last C, that C chopped something else off, so it stood out a little bit more. So I'm going to save that. And we'll save it as On Your Own 13, Poly 4. Let's check out something else. Let's go Sour with Resonance from last week's lesson. How does that sound? It looks pretty similar. No, it already is polyphonic. See when I hit that B flat? Let's change it to 2. Let's go the other direction and see what we can do with that. I wonder if we can... No, because this is all monophonic. And I don't really think the trigger makes much of a difference. There you go. try a different one. What about this saw reverb? I think this is polyphonic also, but let's check it out. This is something I just made when I was messing around. It's really nothing special. Just got a reverb saw tooth through a reverb. Why not give it six voices? Now, I want to think part specific here. So I kind of like what I just did. But it's better because it goes ba-da-da-ba-ba-da. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I play that sixth note. I should chop off the bottom one. So let's make it 3 and hear how that sounds. It should just kind of clear it up a little bit. I know I want at least 4. But I don't want that, in this case it's like the flat 13, I don't want that note to stand out. I want it to blend in, and then when I hit the 5th, I want the 5th to stand out. Doesn't really know, but if I put it on 6, I think it'll stand out even less. In that case, I hear it just completely being lost. But here, just a little bit more detail. Was it Poly 5? Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. And I think we got one more. So let's do evolving with Rezo. Okay. You know what? Now this is a polyphonic sound, but I'm thinking that it might be better not. But let's see what we can do with it. See, I think that's too messy. So what I want to do is do something different. I want to take a sound that's already been made polyphonic and turn it into a monophonic sound. Let's hear how that sounds. I don't like that, actually. So let's do polyphonic, but let's just do 2 voices. It allows me to play a little bit sloppy, but kind of clean it up more than it would be. Let's say, let's do the same kind of thing with 3 voices. That sounds good too. Let's go back. What was it, 4 before? What was that? I don't think I was playing sloppy enough. To me already I can feel like that just sounds like soup. That'd be cool for like an outro or something. I don't know. So let's just put it on 3, just to have it changed some, and I think that'll pretty much cover it. So, Poly 3. Yeah. Yes, I definitely could not, with utmost confidence, explain this voicing section inside of Massive here. I know I have read it, and I know that I do understand probably 70% of it, at least as it pertains to the voicing, like we've mentioned in terms of monophonic and polyphonic modes, but then also you have unison, which is a whole nother set of voices. It doesn't have really as much to do with how many notes you can play at once, as much as how many people are in the choir, so to speak, and then what they're doing inside of Massive as a synth. So, but that's the great thing about synthesis. There's always more to learn and always more techniques to master. So, thank you very much for being a patron. You're getting this video because you're contributing $3 a month or more, which is awesome, and I hope you're getting a lot out of it. I'm here to help you, so if you have any questions, definitely leave them. If you have my email address, go ahead and send me an email, whatever, and I will get you on the track to improving your skills. So that's it for now. I'll see you next week. Peace.